how we can say that some kind of art is an art or is a garbage, for
Right.
example. I need to admit that when I'm going to the modern gallery or modern art exhibition, it's always hard to me. What the hell is that?
What? My kid can do that.
Yes.
Why is this, great art? This is just junk,
Yeah.
and then other people will think it's a masterpiece.
Ciao ragazzi! Another episode of Diavolo Toscano. It's the second season, so I'm so glad that you are still here. And today I've got special guests. She's from US, like New York, to be honest, because New York is the special part of US. But originally, she's from Ukraine, like your
Well, my
family.
family. I
Your
mean,
family.
great grandfather.
Great. So it's something like a connection, like beyond borders. The Polish, Ukraine is great. So today my guest is Phyllis Odessey, and you are not Greek.
No.
It's not like a
No connection.
Not
It's from
connection.
Odessa.
Oh, I'm so happy that we finally met because we've met in Montegiovi. So first, bravo to Montegiovi. The second, bravo for Il Micio because Il Micio hosting us today in the garden. It's still very good weather. I'm so happy.
Incredible.
But this is the last time, I think last day of that weather because tomorrow it's gonna
Supposedly,
work. Yeah, like raining like hell. Okay, but so great opportunity to speak. Okay, you're an artist and you make a collage.
Yes.
Okay, so first hard question: you do you think it's possible to like in life to make from different pieces of things are not you cannot to find a connection between them on the first sight and then take it
hmm
and make something great with that, like how to do that?
I don't know how you do it. It's kind of instinctual. You have all of this stuff usually in front of me,
Okay.
and I think most people that do collages do. Some people, they have paper, they have old menus, they have all kinds of weird stuff. I don't necessarily have that kind of collection of stuff. And you put images next to each other,
Okay.
and somehow from your vision or your sense of something, it works or it doesn't work, then you start all over again. But it's something I can't say why it works to me or it doesn't work, but I sort of know that
Okay.
that it doesn't work.
So it's something inside you
Yes,
that
it's something that just says that's not happening.
okay.
And also sometimes I'm surprised because sometimes when I'm with other people and they're seeing and I'm there when they're seeing my work, but I'm not always there when they see it. And then they will say things that they see in it that I just can't believe.
Okay.
That was not my intention, that they can see a completely different story
Okay.
than what you thought you were doing.
So where the art starting and where it's ending, like because it's a very interesting point of view that there wasn't my intention. What's your suggestion for an artist, like to let it go to the public, like publicity, and say, okay, I just made something, but the interpretation and all of the things is on your side, or you've got some intention, you want to see, you want to show the people what you saw.
I want both.
Wow. Okay.
I want both. I would just stay in the studio and never show anybody anything if that was fine, right? If I want to get it out there and have other people see it, then I'm kind of interested in, okay, I made this and I was thinking it was about X, Y, and Z. And just so maybe I'm in the gallery at the same time that somebody comes in, or a friend says, oh, I saw your work at such and such, and blah, blah, blah. And then you're just like, really? I mean, I think to myself, really? That's what you thought? That's what you thought you saw, and that's what it meant to you? Which is great. It's not like a political message.
Okay.
It's open.
So it tell a lot about the people who watch it, like.
Oh, a lot. Yeah, a lot. That's exactly right. It tells, yeah, it does.
Be careful what you are saying to the artists who making the collages, like, you know, or she know. Okay.
I mean, everybody that sees a Picasso doesn't think the same thing about it. Doesn't mean the same thing to them. I mean, I go with my husband to a museum. We think different things about
Yes.
It's the same Vermeer, it's the same this, or it's the same that. but we see different things.
I need to admit that when I'm going to the modern gallery or modern art exhibition, it's always hard to me, like from time to time, of course, because sometimes it's a great experience, but sometimes, okay, I'm going and say, okay, what the hell is that? And there is some, prints.
Right.
They write what I should see and
Oh,
what I
yeah.
should think. So some from time to time artists try to tell me what they should
But I don't think it's the artist that writes those things,
Okay.
because I know a lot of people that write those things that work
Okay.
in galleries or do the catalogs that you then, pay for and stuff. That's just art speak. It's like a whole,
Okay.
it's like literary criticism, or somebody that, writes about what a poem means. But what it means to you, or what it means to that person that wrote the poem, could be like really different. But there's a certain kind of language to it, to me, of the people that write those kind of things.
How we can say that some kind of art is an art or is it garbage, for
Right.
example?
I don't know how you can, I don't know how you can say that, because some people, obviously, it doesn't matter whether it's in, the Uffizi or it's in the Museum of Modern Art or any of these things. It doesn't matter. Some people will go in there and go, "Are they kidding me? This is just junk,"
Yeah.
and then other people will think it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
People look at a Mondrian, for example, and they see the black lines and they see the red boxes with the blue and the yellow, and they go, "What? My kid can do that.
Yes.
Why is this, great art?" Right?
Is it hard to be a collage artist, for example? Because I I remember that I was great in collage, but when I was in the kindergarten and in the primary school, and uh, it's something what happened to you from
Yeah.
time to time. And what are you doing? Collage? Okay.
Well, I never did that before, because when I was in art school.
Yeah.
I was a painter, and I was painting for a long time.
Why
and then-
collages now?
Yeah, and then I started taking photographs, and then the photographs just didn't
Okay.
sing to me, or I didn't, "It's all right, okay, that's a chair, that's a this, that's a that," and then I don't really know how it all started. And I started just, maybe, I think it was because I have, I print stuff out at home. I get better prints made for the final thing, but when I print things out at home, then I can print out, I don't know, 50 of this, or, and then
Mhm.
decide I like this, I like that. And I think they were all on the table one day, like in a mess, and something fell on top of the other. And I just sort of thought, I like that. And I want to put those two things together.
Okay.
And if you do it once, and then maybe another time and another time, and then it kind of gets to be like a thing.
It's addicted, like.
Yeah, but I think that was kind of chance. It wasn't
Okay.
like, I want to make a collage.
Okay.
No.
It was just something that started
Yeah,
inside you. Okay,
yeah.
it's interesting. A college always, remind me something what we are doing in life.
Hmm.
Like we've got so many pieces of the things around, and we try to put it
Yes.
together.
Yeah,
and
it is sort of like that.
and it's like we try to make it like full consistent image of something. Do you have the feeling that because you are doing that, you've got some better hand in your life to collect that pieces?
Maybe a little bit, but I think it may have to do also a little bit of not having started out in the digital age, because I'm too old, but being part of it now. I mean, just if you're on the phone and you go like this,
Yeah, yeah.
that it's a lot of images. That whereas before you had a camera, you film, you take it, you get developed, you get this one and that one, and they're all separate. So I think it in a way it has to do somewhat with the digital age, especially with the phone
Okay.
and seeing images and going like this, and and there's in a moment what do you see? You can see what 20, 30, whatever you do, and somehow that also affects a little bit, I think, the way at least I see things, or the ability to, like, this is next to that in a flash, and
Okay.
then you know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Okay.
it has somewhat, I think, to do with the way we are using technology these days a little bit.
You started like you said a long time ago.
Very long time.
For a long time ago, like you were a painter. It was hard decision to go to the art school and go through that
Well-
things. or that was just natural
No, I'll tell you a little story. Maybe
Okay.
everybody will be
Right.
bored to death. My father was an electrical engineer, and he became quite successful. And once he was successful and he had a family and he had a house and everything financially was okay, he started going to art school at night. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why I never asked him about it. But anyway, he did. He got really into it. I mean, then
Okay.
he would take the classes, then he would paint, then he'd go, on and this for a couple of years. And then at a certain point, we had a room in our house called the playroom, which was kind of for the kids. And he decided that he bought us all easels and canvas and paint, oil paint
Yeah.
and brushes, the works. And then he would set up a studio for, each one of us. There were 3 of us.
Oh my God.
And he would put a still life over there. And then sometimes he would make my mother be the model. And then sometimes he would ask us to paint something from our imagination. And it kind of was part of our lives from a very early age. And the fact that, he was doing it with us and for us and enjoying it. And then there was a place in New York City where he would take our work down, and they would, it was really silly. And they quote unquote judges would walk around. We wouldn't go because it would be too boring. He would be there all day. Then you'd have first prize, second prize, honorable mention. We'd be all
my
excited.
God.
Oh,
Oh my God, that sounds really nice.
So it kind of was part of our to a certain extent,
Okay.
part of something that my parents reinforced for sure, and always thought it was a valid thing to do, especially my father, even though his job was completely, like it was like night and day from the kind of, paintings on. So I think from a very early age, we all felt, because there were 4 of us, and 2 of my other sisters are artists as well. different, not different parts of the arts, but one's a textile designer and one's also a photographer, but a different kind of photography. But anyway, so I think that kind of started it. So when, we all 3 of us actually went to art school, all 3 sisters,
So you were infected by your father.
they said,
He
they
put it in your...
thought it was a good thing. And then, I don't know, he was always like that. I'd tell this one more story. When we would have like Sunday breakfast together, the whole family, and we would have slices of toast. You would put like a jam on the toast, and then he would take the toast, and with the fork or a knife, he would draw a picture on it, on the toast, and then he would give it back to you.
Oh my God. Nice story. Like that can show us that, parents really have a big impact for our choices.
So it wasn't like, I want to go to art school. No,
Yeah,
you
but
can't.
But after all, are you appreciated that, okay, that was a great, thank you, Father, or my God, he ruined my life?
No, I didn't. For me, I don't know why. We all thought it was, that's kind of like normal. Of course your father's going to draw a picture on your toast, or when they would travel or something and get a postcard.
Yeah.
My mother would write, and then he would draw. I don't know why we didn't think this is the most incredible thing. We just thought this is the way they are, and we took it for granted. And I think one other thing that it taught us, because we were all 3 lined up, like painting this little still life or whatever he would set up, and I would look around, I would go like, it's a vase of flowers, let's say. So my sister has the rose as big as your head, and I have the rose like, the size of a penny. And it taught us that we're all seeing the same thing, but we're all seeing it differently, which I think breeds a kind of tolerance that people can see things, the same thing, in very different ways. And that carries over even, I think, politically to how you see the world.
If you start that topic, I need to ask, because when I get an opportunity to speak with US people, I always ask about your current situation. Is it any chance for you to, go together, like from the 2 very polarized options,
Yes.
to go together and take that 2 pieces and make it one beautiful collage of America?
No, because this is the thing. I mean, I think now it's bad because it is so polarized. I mean, even if it wasn't as extreme as it is now, which it is because of certain people, but in any case, we always enjoy the fact that there's this kind of like you like this, I like that, and that's all good kind of thing, more than, it's either this or you should kill yourself, or,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's bad. But the idea that there's lots of different points of view
That
you
was the
know,
foundation of
yeah,
US.
and I mean that's the part that we embrace. So that's what I hope is more,
Mhm.
possible than the extremism that we have now.
How to do that? Because you, like, I don't want to say you, but
Yeah.
you, like Americans, you made so serious statements about the world and how
Yeah.
we see world
Right.
and how we
Right.
want to see world, and that's like very exclusive. If you are not thinking like
Right. Right.
stop, we
Right.
don't want to speak with you anymore because we don't have anything to
Right.
discuss
Right.
together. Yeah.
Right. I don't know for sure because my contact with people that are like much younger than me, let's say people in their 20s, how they feel, but I think they feel differently.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, that's a very hopeful thing.
Okay.
Climate change is like a really big thing, and you have a lot of young people that are galvanized by
Mhm.
that. They'll vote for a person's more than anything else. That's more, I don't know whether that's good or bad, but I mean, they're more involved in those kind of issues maybe than some other kinds of things, and that instead of just sitting back and just going, oh, okay, that's the more hopeful thing I can say.
Do you think the art can help with that, or is just like escape from reality?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know whether art can help in any political way.
And maybe on the social.
Maybe on a social level, or the idea of the diversity and that kind of stuff, but not so much.
Do you think that the art and that kind of participation in work could be inclusive, much more like
Oh,
more
for sure.
inclusive? Because I'm from a small town. I grew up in a small town in Poland. Then when I moved to the big town for college, that was like the first time when I could see some
Sure.
theater
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Right.
And it was something, for me, rich people do that. What I wanted to ask you, if there is any opportunity for the artists to be closer to people, to show them like, hey guys, it's not glass
House.
towers and we are just sitting there
Right.
drinking wine.
That's kind of a tough one. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm
But
not.
in your opinion, how to do that?
Well, there is some, I would say, I don't know, a little bit of a movement for art to be more inclusive in general, and that meaning that in terms of even schooling and street art and certainly hip hop and all that kind of music
Rebel.
and and that kind of stuff is from the ground up than, like you said, just some exclusive rich people over here who have nothing but they can afford to do nothing else and not make a living kind of thing. Yeah. So I think there's more of that going on, and certainly in terms of museums and galleries and things like that, I think at least in New York, it's trying to reach out and be much more inclusive in
How to
terms
do
of.
that in New York?
you know.
Like you cannot afford to
I
stay
know,
even
I
stay
know.
there.
I know. People are fairly resourceful. You'd be surprised
Okay.
how, or people have a job, but they also have some free time. Yeah, it's
Yes.
it's an expensive
Yeah.
place to live. I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah, I remember that I spoke with so many artists from New York and the young artists also. Like, I say hello to Giannini or Alicia. And they mentioned that that's the hard part of that, because if you want to be a part of that
Scene.
wave, you need to be in New York.
Kind of, although it's getting a little bit better, I would say, and also because of the whole digital ability to you could be stuck out in Oklahoma and still show your work in New York. People have websites, people have connections, people are fairly amazing sometimes. You'd be surprised.
I'm surprised that you mentioned like 5 or 6 times the digital side of being an artist.
Because
That's important for you.
I mean, a website is like it's not that much of a new thing, but compared to 20 years ago,
Yeah.
if you didn't show your work or you weren't even a gallery, you could never say, well, just go to my website. You can see what I do.
Yeah.
It didn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, that pretty that opens up a pretty big part of the world. And then also a lot of things that I've been involved in, and I know other people are involved in. There are kind of digital galleries.
Okay.
In other words, they have like the theme is spirituality, or the thing is
Okay.
whatever, landscape or whatever. It's all digital. You send them, a file, and you're in it, you're out, and then your name gets out there
Okay.
in the world. But it's none of it's. I mean, it's not real. It's real, but it's digital. It's seeing something on a screen.
Okay.
It doesn't exist as a piece of paper or a canvas or a photograph. It's all,
Yeah.
but that opens up a huge opportunity for a lot of people, in terms of getting themselves known, getting the word out.
I'm aware of because I'm professionally
Yeah,
do stuff
right,
like that.
right.
Right. But I'm so happy that so many people are so aware, like self-aware about how important is it also
Oh,
for
yeah.
an artist, because there are so many artists who just think that phone, I don't use a phone or
Oh
internet.
no, I don't know anybody like that.
Yes. Oh my God, you should go
No,
to
I
Poland.
should-
You
Really?
should go to
I mean,
Poland.
I could, I have friends of mine whose children are like 17 or even 16. Oh, they have a website. I mean, these kids, they know every little thing that, they can do, and they're on every site, and they're on every,
Mhm.
it's pretty unreal,
But today we are in Montegiovi,
Right.
in the middle of Tuscan.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the fairy tale, I think. And they don't like to use technology here.
Yeah, so it seems.
I want to ask you, and I think it could be like our main theme of our second part of this conversation about the residency, like the artistic residence, and because you are the now the participant, how
Yeah,
to say it?
participant. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been.
of Labarde resident. Say hello to Labarde resident. Big bravi for you guys. But I want to speak about general about the residency, because a lot of artists, for example, I'm thinking about myself and my friends and
Yeah.
colleagues from Poland. They are artists too, and to be honest, I never hear that they are going on some big international residency, maybe in Berlin or Lithuania, but
Mhm.
it's like we are just in our small world,
Yeah.
and I know that there is like a big market of
Yes,
residency.
there
How
is.
is it working? Please tell me something more
Well,
about it.
there's a site. There are more than this, but there's a site called Res Arts. You can select the country.
Okay.
You can select what you do.
Okay.
You can select how long you want to go for. Like, if I can only spare a week because I have a job, or I can
Okay.
go for 6 months or whatever it is. I can pay or I can't pay. I mean, you can keep going down the line,
Okay.
and then it will come up 5 things or 2,000 things or
Okay.
20,000, depending on how you do it. Pretty much all over the world. I mean, Japan, Korea, India.
Is there like some requirements you need to make?
No, because I mean, each one. I mean, if you select, for instance, I've been to the American Academy in Rome, which is not just for Americans, by the way. But anyway, it's kind of I mean, it's been around for like, I don't know, 1860. I don't know, say a long time
Okay.
ago, and it has a lot of prestige. It has huge buildings. It has gallery. It has an archive. It has, they have a sustainable food program. So you eat dinner. I mean, with a chef. I mean, it's a big deal.
Tell me that
So-
they are paying for that, or no?
No, you pay, but there are scholarships.
Okay.
So it's both. A lot of these things, it's true, and that but not everybody can go. You have to be selected.
be selected. Okay.
So you have to submit your work.
Is
you
it
have
very
to say,
hard to be selected? Like, yeah, there is a lot of competition.
Well, there's a lot of competition for that one because that's a lot of facilities. If you need a studio, like you could get this. Well, I can't
Okay.
see it, but I mean, you can get a huge studio. One year that we were there, somebody was a filmmaker,
Okay.
and I mean, this gigantic room space that he had. So yeah, I think there's a lot of competition for that one, but there are other ones where it's I don't think it's all that hard.
Okay.
Of course, the ones where you have to pay are less. I mean, it's easier to go to if you're willing to pay than if it's
Like,
then it's free.
okay.
That kind of thing.
So you need to prepare some project.
Usually, you have to have a project, or you have to have two things. You have to be able to submit the work, and then you have to say something. So sometimes artists are not very good at the writing part of what they want to do. That I suggest you get a friend to help you.
Okay.
Because two things, they don't just judge it by the work. You usually have to write something. Well, what do you want to do there?
Okay.
You know?
So there is like interview.
Yeah, it's like an interview, except it's on,
Okay.
there's nobody on the other side of the.
You've been on so many residents.
Yes.
Can you share some of that?
Sure. As I said to you before, almost every single one that we've been on, they're usually either many buildings, which are all in the same compound, let's say, or one enormous villa or chateau or something where there are many rooms.
Okay.
And before you go, you usually say, I need a studio or I don't need a studio. If you're a writer, you don't necessarily need a studio.
Okay.
You don't write, so it depends. So you say what you need. And I think, like we were saying before, part of it, some people I'm sure never talk to anybody at these things.
Okay.
They just have the time to themselves and time to work on their work, and they have no interest in speaking to anyone.
Okay.
But most of the time, that's not true.
Okay.
Most of the time, people not crave, but I mean, you do your work, then you come and you all eat dinner together. And so I think that kind of exchange of ideas is really an important part of it. At least it always has been to me. And the ones that I've been at have all been like that, to a certain degree. It depends.
When you travel all over the world.
I've never been to the Far East. I've never been to any of the ones in Japan. But basically, just from parts of Europe.
Which one was the best? Of course, La Baldi residence, except La Baldi residence.
I think probably the American Academy.
Why?
It's on one of, it's interesting because it's in Rome, but it's on one of the 7 hills of Rome.
Okay.
So it's up here, let's say. So you're not in the city per se. You're up there.
Okay.
And it's a great diversity of people in terms of there are musicians, there are writers, there are this or that. So, and as I said, it has a sort of quote unquote big backyard. There's a park across the street. They also have, because it is what it is, and they have a lot of money, they have lectures. I mean, you don't have to go to any of these things, but there could be a lecture on, I don't know, history of Italian something or other or not.
Okay.
They have people that are art historians that will take you on a tour of a certain part of Rome. They do have a gallery, which with changing shows in it. I mean, it's a lot of facilities.
Okay.
They have a lot of money and they have a lot of backing, and they can afford to do all those things, and all of it's free. Everything. Once you're there, you're there, kind of thing. You never want to leave. That's not quite true.
Sounds nice.
But and then they do have this sustainable food program, which they actually grow a lot of food at the academy.
Okay.
And there are interns. You can be part of the sustainable food program, and then you work in the kitchen, making the food with the chefs, and it's a whole thing. It's pretty outrageous
Okay,
in its own way.
I've got new goals. Okay.
I mean, as opposed to like we were in not that far, one outside of Assisi, not that long ago. The woman's family just had a big old a really big stone house. So there were 10 of us, I think. So 10 individual, 10 bedrooms, everybody. And that
It's
kind
like
of stuff.
an
But
Agatha Christie book.
yeah,
like
but then
novels.
right, but then a living room and a big dining room, and then a big, like here actually, with
Okay.
in the countryside and a farm and all that kind of stuff.
There's a great opportunity to make something great again. Like make something if you put so much talented people in one room, like one house, and they've got like 2 weeks, 1 month to spend time just together. It's starting to be like some tension and artistic tension.
Yeah, they can be. Some places, like if it's a fancy place, you have your own studio. But in this thing, the top floor of this big house was this place for all the painters. So you put your easel here, this one puts it, that kind of thing. You don't have a little separate thing
my
for
God.
yourself.
Is it expensive? Like
It's
people
less
are,
than going to a hotel,
yeah. Okay.
or a B&B. It's less. It's way
What
less
is the
than that.
average price?
Yeah, I mean, some people I like at this particular one. There was a woman who I don't think really could afford it,
Okay.
and she kind of made a deal with Marina, daughter of the people that own this big stone house, and I think she did some of the chores around, to sort of like, I can't pay this much, but I could help clean, whatever, you know what I mean,
Okay,
that
nice.
kind of stuff. So sometimes maybe you
Okay.
can make a little bit of a deal, but
See?
it's definitely cheaper than going to a hotel
For
or a
example,
B&B or
2 weeks of
2 weeks. Oh, I wish I could remember.
or 1 month, something like
Yeah.
that. If you can just share with us, because it's interesting to make like
Yeah, I'm trying.
the amount of
I'm
that.
I'm
Of course, we
trying
can check it on the website.
Yeah, that would
but
be better. Because I'm not sure I can
okay,
remember.
so
But it's not. I mean, for us, we have to get ourselves there. So we have the plane fare.
Yeah.
Some of these, like in this one that was in front of, we had a car. We rented a car. But other people, like she would pick you up at the train station in a CC. Then, of course, you're there. They provided breakfast, and you had to provide your own meals for the rest of the time. Where my sister lives up here in France, there's a food truck, there's a meat truck, that's Thursday. Then the guy with the bread comes on Tuesday. And
okay,
this one
I need
comes,
to leave. I need to go there.
you know, so not
Meat
it,
truck.
not everything, but I mean, and then she would take them once a week to the supermarket for the stuff that
Okay.
wasn't provided for, that kind of stuff. They're only providing breakfast in that particular one. Most of these places don't provide 3 meals a day. You're not paying that much money. You still have some expenses.
Sort. And you've got some exhibition after work, after the residency.
Not necessarily. So it just depends on the place, and like I said, this one everybody left some work there, and then later on, she actually mailed it back to everybody, which was really crazy.
So if you can help the people who search the residency for the first
Yeah.
time in their life, what we should look at, or what's the most important thing?
Well, it depends on what you need for your work, in other words. So if you have to have your own private studio, I think you're looking at the upper level
Okay.
of these kind of places. So you have to decide whether you need your own private studio, or you're willing to share a space with 2 or 3 or 4, whatever it would be. I think the idea of it is you have to be the kind of person that kind of likes to talk to other people
Okay.
and share things. I mean, I've been in these places where I've said, there was a woman at one of them. I mean, I saw her at breakfast because that was the only mandatory thing. I don't know whether I ever spoke another word to her. I have no idea when she ate dinner. I mean, we never saw her in the kitchen or anything. I have no idea. So
Maybe she was a ghost.
you have to know your own personality. So if you're better off just renting a little cabin somewhere or getting a tent in the woods if you don't want to
Make some
share
interaction.
you share things with other people. So I think you have to know that. Most of the residencies that I've looked at, there's 10, 12. I mean, the American Academy is a little bit different because it's a big building, and I think there are probably at least 20, 25 people without it ever being crowded. But I would say most of them are more like 10 or 12 people.
Last question
Yeah.
about the residency. What about the residency? Because you spent some 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Well, two, as it turns out. Yeah,
Okay.
more like 2-ish.
What was the best part of that experience here in the middle of beautiful town?
Yeah, I think that's it. The landscape. Yeah,
Okay.
the landscape and the town itself, and all these little streets and buildings and weird little corners, and you walk around and you just see, like, oh, there's a tree growing out of somebody's porch, or to me those are the kind of things that I like. Yeah.
You met me.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know about yours. That's
Right,
the greatest
right,
part.
Right. No, but I mean, so in this case, it's
Yeah.
what we see behind us,
Yeah.
which is pretty phenomenal.
I need to admit that I live here from 1 year, like 14 months now, and I'm still have that feeling that it's not real. Like I'm in some kind of coma. Someone wake me up and say,
Yeah.
"Okay, no, it's a reality." Sorry, you had some crash accident. Also.
Yeah.
That's not real. You've
Yeah.
got that feeling, and it's like it's big. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I think we are going to end, but I need to ask you because you mentioned that on the beginning that you've got like Ukrainian roots. Do you have still some family in Ukraine?
It's a little complicated because this goes pretty far. I mean, this is the difference between, I think, like the more aristocratic families and the people that were more on the
Okay.
working class people. I know people that, yes, their families go way back and they have photographs and diaries and letters, and we don't have any of that stuff. I think they came to the United States in the 1860s,
Okay.
and I think they were so glad to
Okay.
just get off the boat and
Yeah.
and that's why I know that they came from Odessa. But the reason why our name is the way it is, according to who's ever still alive, or like my father and his father and stuff like that, when they came here, I don't know what, they didn't speak any English, and so maybe they thought they were asking them where they were from, so they said Odyssey. I mean, they said Odessa, and they wrote down as their name
Okay.
as like the guy at the immigration, whatever.
But this is a
Fine.
beautiful coincidence to have that song.
So they said, fine, I don't care what you call me. You can call me anything as long
Good
as
job.
as long as you go like this, you're in.
Okay.
To answer that question, it's possible my parents went back to Odessa. Well, this is many years ago, in the late 60s, maybe. Oh, because this is one of these stupid stories how they left a pot of gold there.
Please,
And
tell me.
they were going to find all of this treasure.
Okay, please tell me.
Never happened.
Okay.
But anyway, so it's very uncertain whether maybe there's some cousin, some fifth, or some relation, someplace, but nobody would ever be able to know.
So thank you once again.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for being here. Of course, subscribe, make a comment or share. I hope that could help you also make a decision if you want to try with some artistic residency. All of them, that there are like plenty of that in the world. So thank you, Phyllis. Thank you guys. Diablo is kind of another episode, another season. So see you in the next time. Ciao.